Why, hello, fellow Patriots, and welcome back to the Patriot Dad channel, where we can discuss current events and modern issues, all while keeping it as real as possible. Today, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about foreign aid, or at least the funding of foreign wars, and the conflict this is generating inside of our government. Now, we've had a second Speaker of the House this term, and Mr. Johnson does not seem to be doing that much better than Mr. McCarthy. For some reason, whenever somebody gets into the speakership, they just adopt the uniparty rhino mentality and stop pushing values that conservative Americans want and start pushing the values that the military-industrial complex needs. Now, this means who's actually representing us? What does the Republican Party or the Democrat Party actually represent anymore? The main points of division seem to be, do we consider the unborn children? Do we support the murder or killing of the unborn? Do we think that people should get free stuff for doing nothing? And should we fund foreign wars forever? Now, that last one there seems to be a real sticking point nowadays, with Israel kicking off its conflict with Iran, which went hot this week, and Ukraine and Russia. Now, I have a video on my channel from before where we did the Russia versus Ukraine conflict, and in some of my other videos, we've also discussed previously how our money and our equipment seems to always end up on both sides of an international conflict. As far back as the 80s, and probably before, but that's the first one that I know of, where we directly gave funding, intelligence, and military hardware to both sides of a conflict. The Iran-Iraq War of the 80s was that conflict. Now, we seem to be doing it again, because we just gave a whole pile of money, or at least it was money that was being held outside of Iranian hands due to sanctions, and we gave them access to billions upon billions of dollars, and then they went and attacked Israel. It's kind of weird how that works, isn't it? But what are we doing about it? We're supposed to be holding the line. We're supposed to be not funding foreign wars while we still have domestic problems at home. But what is our House Speaker doing now? Our House Speaker is now, according to this NPR article, and you may not like the sources that I choose, but I choose them intentionally. Just like with Timcast chooses their articles based on what the right people, or the left, thinks is good news. So I choose my sources the same way. I don't want to just show you only conservative sources, because then people are going to say I'm just parroting conservative viewpoints and talking points and aren't thinking for myself. So let's pull up this article real quick. Speaker Johnson is moving forward with foreign aid bills despite threat to oust him. So people in the legislature are telling him, if you move forward with funding these wars, without funding a border wall, without funding domestic programs and problems at home, instead you're going to give more billions to Ukraine, more billions to Israel. And for what? Why are we paying to bomb kids overseas when we have real issues to deal with here back home? The 7.2 million illegal immigrants I talked about in my video from a few days ago about Secretary Mayorkas's impeachment making it to the Senate. Look, what are we doing? So Speaker Mike Johnson is moving forward with his plan to vote on separate bills to provide assistance to Ukraine, Israel, and U.S. allies in the Indo-Pacific, despite growing criticism from within the conference and the looming threat of being ousted from his post. Now, I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but I really don't think that this guy's doing a very good job of representing the American people. He's representing the military-industrial complex, and he's representing people outside of this country more so than the ones inside of it. That seems to be a dereliction of duty, and I think that he should probably be replaced. Now, the main thing that causes, though, is who is he going to be replaced with? And if he gets ousted, is he going to resign? Because we've just recently seen Republicans resigning from the House, which is putting us at less and less of a majority and putting that majority at risk. So if a Republican resigns from Congress before the end of their term and is then replaced with a Democrat, or is replaced with nobody, and then makes the vote even in the House, or in the worst case, enough of them resign where the Democrats regain the majority in the House, whose fault is that? I would say that's the cowardly way out. So who else might benefit from us ousting Johnson as Speaker? Well, need to look no further than this Axios article that I found that incensed Democrats stoke GOP revolt against Mike Johnson. Why it matters. Moderate and hawkish Republicans are growing more restless despite the hour, with urgent aid for Ukraine poised to fall by the wayside until May if it isn't passed this week. Now, why do you think the Democrats would want to do that? Now, to me, that makes it sound like they plan to benefit from the ousting of Johnson as Speaker. Is this some 4D chess? It's hard to tell, but if we oust Johnson as Speaker, what might happen? Who might replace him? Well, if nobody does and he resigns, we might end up with somebody worse, or we might end up with somebody better. Is it worth the risk? And I honestly think that they bank on us doing that mental calculation and not taking action. So you know what? I'm just gonna say YOLO. We're already so far down this rabbit hole at this point with our country that we might as well give it a shot, because what we got with McCarthy and what we're getting with Johnson is not working out in our interests. It's just not. So you might be wondering who's leading the charge against Speaker Johnson. Y'all may not like her too much. I think she's great. A lot of you think she's crazy, but you know what? We're all entitled to our opinions, and if you want to explain why you think what you think, go ahead and put in a comment below. But we see here that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene posted up here on Twitter that Mike Johnson will not be Speaker. He just will not be. There may be only 2 of us public right now, but he does not have the support of the conference at all. And if you look down here at the comments, there's a couple that really caught my eye, like Sandra Loftus here. If you want to know how many members of the House are on your side, remember that out of 435 members, only 19 voted against continuing to allow warrantless searches of Americans' information. Grab him by the MAGA, Mike has to go. This was the day it all turned. 2 years, 2 so-called leaders, and nothing done for the working class Americans. This is our house. Are you tired of the Circus Act yet? And honestly, it feels more and more like that's all it is. This is just a circus. They're putting on a performance. And I honestly think, just like that last user, nothing has been done for working class Americans for the most part by our government other than trying to give them more free shit at my expense. Because as a net tax-paying citizen, I'm seeing more of my money go to criminal aliens, people who aren't willing to work for it, or to pay for bombs that are getting dropped on some kids overseas that don't really impact my life. But you know what? It sure impacts theirs. And when you drop bombs on their kids, 20 years from now, they're going to want to blow up a building here in one of our towns. So please stop. I just ask that the government and that the people in the House, please stop. Think about what you're doing. Think about the long-term impact. Stop thinking about how it financially benefits you today and think about how it's going to impact my kids in the future. I don't really appreciate this. Y'all are condemning them to a future of enslavement and servitude to some foreign nation who's going to own us. I don't like it one bit. So please, those of you in the audience, make sure you get out there to vote. Make sure you know who you're voting for. Make sure you know what policies they stand for, and make sure that they align with your values. And then if they get there and they don't do the things they said they were going to do, we need to get rid of them. Stop voting these people back into office, because the rate at which these terrible legislators just get reelected anyway is so high it's silly. We need to knock it off as a country. But thank you to those of you that made it to the end of this video. I greatly appreciate you. Please make sure you give the video a like and leave a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this one, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the little bell icon so that you can be notified when I upload additional content. If you have a recommendation for a topic or a future reaction that you want to see on this channel, please make sure to leave it in a comment below on this video, as the majority of the videos on this channel come from viewer recommendations from people just like you. Thank you very much for all of your help. Take care, everyone. God bless, and bye for now. Go ahead and check out one of the links on the screen now to either subscribe to the channel and see the rest of the videos of the channel, or one of the carefully selected videos that you may wish to see that YouTube has used its algorithm to select for you.